Welcome to the Powerful Ladies podcast. I'm Kara Duffy, and today's guest is Lynn Harris. She's a producer, award-winning journalist, author, social activist, and a woman who is prolific at creating new spaces for new voices to be heard. From being a co-creator of Breakup Girl to being the founder and CEO of Gold Comedy, she is, as she says, on her 73rd, I think is the name, career that she has done. She is making things all the time, from her own comedy and shows and stand-up to spaces for other people. And Gold Comedy in particular is a comedy school, professional network, and content studio where women and non-binary creators grow their comedy careers, build powerful communities, and just make funny stuff. This is a great episode. Join us as we talk about who gets to be funny, the drive to create what we see missing in the world, and how all things are possible when we say yes and. Welcome to the Powerful Ladies podcast.
Thank you. Oh, is that for me?
That's for you.
I didn't know if that was me or all your multitudes of listeners.
That was for them and for you all at once. Let's begin by telling everyone your name and where you are in the world and a few of the things you're up to, because you're up to a lot.
Sure. My name is Lynn Harris, and I'm literally right now in Brooklyn, New York. I have a sort of enviable view right now of the Manhattan Bridge right there. And the sort of biggest and most sort of current and recent thing is that I'm the founder of Gold Comedy, which is the comedy school, almost all online. So wherever you are, you can find us. Comedy school, professional network, and content studio, where women and non-binary creators and others build comedy careers and passion projects or side hustles, join a powerful collaborative community, and make funny stuff that actually gets seen on all kinds of stages and screens. And the key words that kind of went before that all funneled into that include journalist and author and producer. And I did stand-up for a long time. And long story short, what brings it all together is my, and I'm not the first one to say this at all, nor will I be the last, but the idea that pop culture, including comedy, can really be part of driving social change. Mm-hmm. So that's been it's the through line and, what gets me out of bed in the morning and keeps me up at night.
And you also are known as the breakup queen, I believe.
No, close. I co-created with my, thought partner. What is that? With my creative partner, also the thought partner.
Yeah, it's who you think with. I get it. Yeah.
No. Yes, he is that. But I meant to say creative partner. Breakup Girl is a superhero who helps all people with romantic emergencies. And my partner, Chris, and I, my creative partner, thought partner, Chris and I co-created Breakup Girl a long time ago as part of a humor book that we were writing, turned it into a website where no one else had websites. It was 1997. And the concept, the character, all that turned into a massive thing with a cult following that got acquired by Oxygen. We had animations on TV. We had live shows. We had extremely popular website and advice column. And there was some legal wrangling after the .com bust, which is a topic for another podcast where it's after 5 o'clock somewhere and we can drink, but we have the property back now and we've been playing around with different things because we will never let her go. And so working on some stuff right now to be revealed. But that whole thing was, I'm proud that it was one of the earliest, it feels quaint now, but earliest, not Breakup Girl, but what I'm about to say feels quaint now. It was one of the earliest internet-driven success stories and brands that appeared on so many different platforms, which was unusual then. Now it's normal. Then it was really in the 90s. It was very unusual. And also the project, the whole enterprise really fits in with what I was saying before, which is that we didn't invent her for this, mm-hmm. but what we realized we were doing along the way. And I think why people were drawn to the character and to the whole sort of comic world that we created was she was really a way to help change the way people talked about relationships. And really a very fun, literal cartoon delivery system for important conversations about kindness, everything from like kindness to gender justice and everything in between. And when you have a cartoon superhero moderating that conversation, you're more apt to listen than you are to someone lecturing you, scolding you, giving you an encyclopedia. So we realized we didn't set out to do this, but we were ahead of our time because people found the character and the world that we created so accessible that we were able to have conversations that are pretty common now, but about sexual orientation, about sexual assault, things like that, because we had such a colorful package to put it in.
You are also the co-founder of Persisticon and a Jewish advice podcast as well.
Well, okay, so I'm a co-founder. There are a whole bunch of us and we're not done, but we slammed on the brakes during the pandemic because we did public events. Like that's what we did. Apparently in Brooklyn, all in New York City, driven by comedy and art, fundraising events and conversations around politics, especially around fundraising to elect women and pro-abortion candidates. But but the mission grew bigger around that. And we just brought people together and created massive comedy events and talkbacks after films, that kind of thing. So, and then, yeah, we're plotting what'll be the next thing. So that's Persisticon, and really just great community building also. We raised a bunch of money, but we created a community that was really what also was needed at the time. And then I was, for 2 seasons, co-host of The Forward, which is the oldest. Is it the oldest? Oh gosh, I'm gonna forget the actual, like, what's the word, superlative? But it's the continuing. It's in English now, also Yiddish, but the continuing newspaper that Jewish immigrants to the States read. And speaking of community, also really the offices were also a community at the time, and the building's still there. And one of the most famous creations of that paper was called a bindle brief, which is a bundle of letters, and it was the advice column. And it's never really, it's taken on a lot of different iterations, but it's never really gone away, at least not for long. And so the one form it took was a podcast. So I co-hosted it with Gina Green, and we answered letters and had guests, and we had a ball.
Well, and this speaks to how on your Instagram account, I think you say that you're on like your 79th career or something.
Like my 73rd rodeo.
Yeah. And when I remember being in college and people telling me like, oh, you're going to have 7 careers is the current expectation. Today, I do think it's closer to 70, especially if you're someone who knows how to cause and create something when you see an opportunity. Like I know in my world, everything I've made is either from ooh, that sounds fun, or that's stupid. Like it's one of those things. I'm either like fixing something. Yeah. Either like that sounds fun, or that's dumb, we have to fix it. And so when you are that type of creative person who, I think a big thing I'm seeing in your story is just, if you believed you could make it, you've made it. And like, is that an accurate portrayal? And if yes, where does that come from for you?
It's partly accurate, and I see, and I think I see why you would say that. I think sometimes, I don't know who told me to do this, but I have certainly done the thing where you say yes and then you figure it out, which doesn't always work, but I think it's a good orientation to not know exactly. Honestly, I think a lot of mediocre white dudes do that, and it serves them well. To be like, yeah, I could do that. And I'm kind of being snarky, but I think this is absolutely not shading women, because I think anything that might sound like criticism of women or things that women need to take care of is what I'm saying is I'm throwing under the bus, and who deserves to be thrown under the bus is the architects and supporters of patriarchy, because that's where we get the ideas and messages that are in our bloodstreams that cause us to do what we do. So I think if there's one thing we can learn from mediocre white dudes, it's saying like, yeah, I could do that. And then like the minute you say that, going, oh, how am I going to do this? Okay, now I got to figure this out. Or it's that thing where like men apply to jobs that when they have 40% of the qualifications and women wait till they have 100, which again, no shade to women. Why we do that is that we are actually held to a higher standard. So we're smart to do that. So like, it's not a bad thing, it's not a bad way to navigate the stupid world we live in. But I also think that there are those times when it serves everybody to say yes before you know how to do it and you figure it out. Or you try to figure it out. Like, I still haven't exactly figured out. I'm still learning on the fly, you know, how to run a business, which I am. There are a lot of people who run businesses because they like to run businesses. Like, it's the business first. And I'm not saying they're not committed to the point of the business, but it's like what they like to do is run a business. And then they do it really well. They may not live and breathe the mission of the consumer good that they're running, or whatever it is. And that's fine. It's completely fine. That's not me. Yeah. I know how to produce things. I know how to make things. I know how to build a team. But the specific thing of running a business, I had to learn on the fly. Just like I would have to learn how to make pastry or do oil painting or fix a motorcycle. Like, I just haven't been told how to do. I don't know how to do. I just legit don't know. So I would have to learn. So there is a lot of stuff like that I've learned on the job rather than before the job.
Well, and you're reminding me why I have job security. When I'm not doing Powerful Ladies, I'm a business strategist and coach. And it's exactly for that reason. I love working with creative, heart-led people who are just making the thing they know how to do. And I'm like, yeah, let me show you the boring stuff. Another thing women do, and not just women, because I work with men and women, but there's people who put their craft or their customer or the thing before themselves. They make themselves feel so guilty for being like, I don't know how to do taxes. I'm like, me neither. You're not supposed to.
You're not supposed to, right? How would you?
Yeah, it's when you leap in and say, I don't know how, but I'm going to figure it out. It allows so much room for other people, experts, to come in and give their gifts also. Like, we're not supposed to do all these fun things alone. And I don't know, it just, the more we say yes, the more we get to allow other people to say yes also. Like, I really do think that the yes and from improv is, if you live yourself in a yes and space, things tend to work out. Yeah. Something that I thought was really interesting when in an article I read about you launching Gold Comedy, because you were very brave, I believe, and launched it in 2020.
Brave and bored. But yeah, I launched this version that you can see now. Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Late 2020. I launched the beta, I think, at the end of the year. Yeah.
Okay, amazing. So but there was a quote I saw about how you were trying to do it for teens, but all these women kept showing up, and like middle-aged women. Yeah. And I saw that and I'm like, it made total sense to me, because especially with what's happened in the past couple of months, that all the people being called wine moms could easily do a stand-up set because they have lived enough life to have ridiculous shit happen.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, of course there's hilarious, authentic, raw stories that these women are like bursting to tell because they don't have anywhere to use that creativity. So like, when you look at the people who are participating in Gold Comedy, like, what are you so excited about for them?
Oh, that's a great question. You mean jealous of for them because they're doing all the fun stuff while I do the spreadsheets and sharpen the pencils? Yeah. Well, two things. One is so what happened was, we had teen girls who were great. We did some pilots with the teen girls, and they were great. They were hilarious. They were ridiculously funny. And we still quote them. Like, the folks who were around, my collaborators who were around since then, we literally still remember Brianna when she said, oh my God, when she did the thing with the mic. Yeah. But yeah, it was like their mothers, it was friends, it was also working comedians who were like, teens, what about me? Because what they were looking for was it was a place with no bro vibes, which is what we are. We have their dudes, and I don't police people's pronouns, gender, people are, I don't know your life, but we do say that we're for women and non-binary folks and others, and who are typically marginalized from comedy and everything. So what we get is a place where everywhere else, you don't come first. Here you do, whoever you are. So anyway, so that's why there's more of those spaces now, but this was a while ago, and in internet years, I guess, at least. And yeah, so comedians were like, would that be all right? I'll just lurk. Is that fine? So I was like, okay, I could do this with teens, but the market is telling me that they're not the primary people. So that's what happened with that. And so what makes me really happy to see is honestly, whoever they are, whether they're already established creatives or whether they're, let's call them middle-aged women who have not done this before. Mm-hmm. I love when they actually, this is going to sound broad, but you'll see what I mean. When they make things and they actually make the things. And because I love to kind of bust the idea, you didn't say this, but a lot of people say, oh, you must build so much confidence. Those are important skills, which yes and yes. I have a separate rant about confidence, which we'll get back to. But yeah, we do that. But how do we know? Well, they made a thing. Of course, that doing stand-up sets, that counts. But then they started doing them. They started going to mics and built a stand-up career. Or they created a solo show and now they're touring it with other Goldies. Or they finally wrote that damn pilot and now they're winning prizes and they're figuring out how to make a proof of concept. Or they won a pitch competition with the pitch for their film idea, whatever it is. And so actually the concrete stuff. Yeah. They didn't just sort of walk out feeling funnier. Again, that would actually not be a bad thing. That's table stakes. Mm-hmm. It's making and doing the things. And people have done all of the things that I just said. I made a web series. We have 2 web series that are out there, 2 full, complete web series that are out there in the world made by Goldies. So, with more to come. So, I don't know. I just like to see the things. It's people can tell me they're having a good time all day long, but when I see the things, I'm really happy.
Well, it's such a different level of, yeah, it's great if you're getting the kind of intangible, oh, I left, I have no friends, I have the confidence, I made someone laugh today, I feel good. But when we look at what changes the stakes in our world and culture, we do need these people making their things. People get so caught up in, I don't know how to do it, going back to what I was saying before. I don't know how to pitch this screenplay idea I have. I don't know how to produce something. I don't know how to film this short I want to do. And when we look, people will complain oh, well, women and non-binary folks aren't making enough stuff. And you're like, well, we are, and we haven't been shown the advanced path in very often.
Yeah. 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 You mentioned women who have more material just because years.
Yeah.
We mathematically have more material. It's just we just do. And to exactly your point, we have a class that is, I think I always joke that it's like Christmas. This class is the final class of this, the final meeting of this class at Gold is is my Christmas, because it's a premium class led by the producer of Broad City and Search Party and Inside Amy Schumer and a whole bunch of shows that you love. And she realized exactly what you're saying, that no one had ever told anybody how to, in a visible way, how to create a pitch for their creative idea that would be true to their idea and also understandable, translatable to people in the business. And all of these pitches took place behind closed doors. There's a million investor pitches out there, but this kind of thing was hard to see. And if there's one way to enable the underheard voices, it's tell them how to pitch. That was her evaluation of the problem in the landscape. And she used to teach it. Her name is Ryan Cunningham. She's amazing. And she used to teach it. She developed it at RISD, Rhode Island School of Design, where she was an alum, and she became a trustee. She couldn't teach it there anymore, but she loved it. She brought it to us. We are happy. But what she always said, 2 things about this, what she says about it and then a little bit more about the people. She always said that she loved her youngsters at RISD, loved them, full of energy and creativity. And so many other shows were elaborate sci-fi, which is great. It's totally great. Uh-huh. But then, I couldn't do that. But the people who are drawn to her class at Gold's, there's a chunk of them who are women in their 40s, 50s, who may or may not be in entertainment. Some are. Mm-hmm. Some aren't. May or may not be planning to quit their day job. They may or may not be pivoting. There might be an actuary, and that's fine. There might be, one of them was a veterinary oncology surgeon. But
fancy.
Have this idea for a thing, a TV show, a film, that they have decided that they must do, and they must do it now, whether it's empty nest, whether it's lingering after COVID, is this all there is, whether it's they're comfortable in their career growth so that they're not hustling so much that they can sort of do both. Whatever it is, they're like, it's now. And the problem they have is like, I'm a veterinarian. Like, I don't know anything. And I'm like, I can write because I have a blog or whatever it is, but I don't know how to like pitch, like develop a pilot and pitch it. Why would I know? How would I know? And so they are the ones who are having immense success in these classes because, as Ryan says, like, even if their stories aren't autobiographical, there's a way you can see and feel that there's decades of life put into them, and they take the class super seriously. They take the outcomes of the class super seriously. They go on and do more things. And she's just like, we have bring so much to the table and really create amazing stuff.
I like it because it's real. Like, it's coming from the froth of like day and life and living. It's not people in a writer's room like throwing darts at ideas and being like, well, let's start that one. When these things are like crawling out of you, there's such an energy behind it. And it has more, I don't know, soul or staying power or like activation behind it.
Yep. And yeah, you really see that. You really see we have people who've gone on from that class to like, let's see, one of them they're doing proofs of concept of their shows. They won pitch competitions. They've got talent attached and production companies attached. They've got representation, and like they're doing the thing. They made the thing and now they're doing the thing, or they're going to make the thing, or they got ready to make the thing and now they're going to make the thing. And yeah, there is that kind of depth of experience. It's not just like an idea that sort of sprang randomly from their heads, even if it's not autobiographical. It's God, people have done the most creative, come up with the most creative pitches, and it's such an important. And I'll say this: it's how you know, or where the reason you feel it so hard is that they're pitching the right way, which is that it's actually not a pitching class and like a freebie for anyone working on a pitch of anything. It's not about just having you don't start with a slick deck. Yeah. In the class, you don't even start thinking about the pitch until the 6th or 7th week, because you spend the time before that developing the idea. So the pitch is a representation of a fully developed idea. It's not just everyone can do. I mean, Canva, we can all do an amazing deck now, but it really shows. And that the freebie is don't start the deck until you really can like breathe and in and out the idea, where you know the idea so well you can answer any question. The why you, you know, the why now, all of those things. Then no Canva until you know that stuff.
This is exactly what I'm saying all day long to people who want to start a business, because to me, life is a bunch of art projects. And whether it's a business you want to start, or it's a play you want to make, or it's a t-shirt, like whatever the thing is, like I'm going to minimize everyone's super fancy MBAs real quick, but being someone who has one, but business is ultimately like project management on speed. That's all it is. And so, but it's like, if we don't apply it to the things that matter to us, like it should be helping us bring things to life and ideally making money, like hobby, not business, but it's the exact same thing. And I'm losing my mind over here. So I'm just going to add to what you were saying for anyone listening. Whatever you want to make, follow Lynn's same advice. Hearing your voice and your speaking intonation, I immediately hear Rachel Dratch in the back of my head.
That is so funny.
Well, and so I consider Massachusetts home. Yes. And you were born in Lexington. Yep. She's born, I believe, around the corner.
Lexington.
And Amy Poehler's the 2 towns over.
Yep.
Steve Carell is from Massachusetts. Like, there's so many people from Massachusetts who end up in a comedy space.
I know.
Why? Like, is it... So, and I'll say, like, I think there's something in the water that tells us we can do it. I don't know why, but like that there's people, every time someone's doing something, I'm like, are you from New England by any chance, or the Northeast? Because someone told us we could up there, and I don't know why we're not spreading that message elsewhere.
I know. I honestly, I have no clue. I don't even have a joke about it. Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know. Are we funnier? Are we, what's the mindset? It's not, because funny isn't the outcome. It's like, you're right. It's like, what's the mindset that gets you, that makes you funny? Because we're all different kinds of funny, right? Like Rachel Dratch is completely different from Adam Sandler, who's from New Hampshire, and Seth Meyers also from New Hampshire. I mean, come on, this is crazy. I can name a million. I was about to say, what's his name? The one from that show? That's what I was about. Marblehead. There's so many. Fun fact, this is for your listeners. You probably know this. So Rachel Dratch is from my hometown, and she's an advisor to Gold, which is not unrelated to the fact that we grew up in the same synagogue. And then Amy is from Burlington, and those towns were stand-ins, or that's where they got the inspiration for. Oh, see, here I go. The towns on the show, the Parks and Rec, the two towns, Eagleton and Pawnee, are Lexington and Burlington. Which I died when I read that in Amy's memoir, and I was like, of course. Yeah, there you go. Fun fact, little inside baseball, but there you go.
Yeah, no, it's even looking at like what Ben Affleck and Matt Damon have done. Like, there's a level of audacity of like, of course we can write a screenplay. Like, and I don't know that it's like we believe it will happen, but we're like, we're gonna try.
We're gonna do it. Yeah, we're just gonna write a screenplay. We're just gonna fucking do it. You with me? You with me, Damon? Yeah, Fleck, let's do it. They and Rachel and Mark Wahlberg are the only four people that, when I am president, will allow to do a Boston accent on the screen. Well, obviously Amy also, and I said Rachel, right? Yeah. Everyone else can just, I literally, the other day, my son was like, oh, Mom, I just finished this great book called Eileen. I'm just going to name it. Great book. And then I watched the movie. You got to watch the movie when you finish the book. And I was like, sure. Because I thought the book was beautifully written by someone in Massachusetts. And I went to watch the movie, and I had to be like, son, alas, I cannot watch the film. And he was like, why? And I was like, because I can't listen to Anne Hathaway's Boston accent. I couldn't do it. It's like fingernails on a blackboard.
Yeah.
Fingernails on a blackboard. Cannot do it. Yeah.
No, because it starts sounding like someone's doing a parody, and you can't take it seriously. You can't like let the character just become a person that you're with. Nope. Yeah. How do you think growing up in Lexington and the Boston area influenced you?
I was always really into, my kids will utterly tease me all the time because I was a big nerd for all the American history stuff. Yeah. Big nerd for that. I was a tour guide. It was certainly part of my like comfort. Who knows what the chicken and the egg is, but I definitely like early on developed comfort talking to people and being funny. And because of course the tour guides had to be funny. And we basically just like, the jokes got passed down from the previous, like there was a tour guide at Slade. His name was Art Slade, but his name was I can't, that's how it in my mind. So, and was hilarious. So we had we like stole his jokes, which is fine. Not if you're a comedian, it's fine if you're a tour guide. And so I really just loved it. And I'm trying to think of, so that's a concrete thing that it inspired me to be a tour guide, and we made a killing. We didn't get paid, but we made tips, and that was my first job because I did that before I was 16, before I could get like a job. And that's a great question. I just was always thrilled by it, and I was always happy to like when people came to visit. We always had people visiting from all over the world for reasons, cousins and just other people that we knew, and I was always so excited to like take them to the green and tell them the whole thing. And I can't tell you there's a direct connection. I don't know. I didn't go to high school in Lexington, so Rachel and I didn't go to the same high school.
Yeah.
But I went to the Windsor School. I went to a girls' school in Boston, and it was not. People were very afraid of the word feminist back then, so I wouldn't we had Gloria. Long story, we had Gloria Steinem speak at our high school graduation, and that was a scandal. Except for the people who were into it, not by the administration, but there were like some parents who were. But if nothing else, that school had as priority making sure that girls spoke and spoke up. There were speaking prizes. There were it was just really in the water, to the point where I went to college and I was like, why are the boys talking?
Yeah.
And I was intimidated at first because, I knew boys, like I did plays in the newspaper and stuff, and I knew them. We were already like on equal footing because we were doing the same hobby together, whether it was whatever, as I said, the newspaper or theater. But like all of a sudden they were in my classes and they were talking and they seemed to know shit. And I think they didn't. I think they just talked. Mm-hmm. We were taught to speak, but we were also taught to know what we were going to say, know what we were saying. So it intimidated me for a few months. And my mother was like, Lynn, don't listen to them. Don't don't worry. Like, welcome to the real world. Aside from that blip, I also think, and also like, it's not the only way to learn how to be comfortable speaking up. It is to go to a preppy girls' school, which was great. It's definitely not the only way, but I think that certainly helped. Helped.
I do think, like, for those of us who are from there, it's kind of just part of the air, this interesting balance of very liberal perspectives, but also very preppy conservative. Like, there's this interesting balance that only makes sense there. And I don't know if it can be extrapolated to other places, because you can have these legacy families who believe at the same time, like, yes, we should give all kids school lunches. And you're like, yes. It kind of doesn't comprehend how those two things can exist in the same place. Like, even like when I was living there, Mitt Romney was the governor. Yeah. And he was a Republican governor who passed universal health care and the Gay Rights Act in Massachusetts. Yeah.
The only times I've ever voted for Republicans were living in Massachusetts and Connecticut, also New England. And sometimes it was the lesser of two evils, but it wasn't someone you couldn't vote for. Yeah. They were decent humans who had clear core values that you could get behind. I remember there was Lowell Weicker in Connecticut. I wasn't living there for Romney, but we voted for Weld. Who was that? There was this patrician, if not Democrat, patrician, and also not progressive, but like patrician okay people. Yeah. Which I know it's hard to reconcile. I know.
But I feel like the New England origins have given me like an expectation of like being an activist. Like I feel like I was taught there, like we take care of each other and we speak up for each other and we use our power, influence, wealth to help other people. Yeah. And I see in everything that you've listed of your 73 potential things, it's all rooted in how are we pushing someone else into a spotlight or how are we helping people? Yeah. Can you imagine your life not doing that? Like yeah.
I mean, sometimes I think it would be nice. As I said, with the people who are doing their fun comedy projects, I'm like, I want to do my fun comedy project. Wait a minute. What happened? I have done fun comedy projects, and I am working on, I'm writing a pilot now that is my favorite part of my day. But I do miss this sort of making stuff for no reason. But no, you're right. I mean, not no reason, but like just to delight. But yeah, I don't want to sound so noble, but I just never, it was just always my orientation. My parents, I'm sure they played a role. They were very nice and giving, and they weren't like massive activists, but my mom kind of was. But it was normal for me to be, I put it this way once before, like for me to be a feminist and all the things I am was not a rebellion.
No,
absolutely not. And it was completely normal and welcomed in the house. So that worked. And thank God I didn't like choose to rebel against that. Yeah. And become that kind of kid. But I don't know. And I guess maybe my parents they did have a big influence on me. So like maybe, and like for them, sending me to Windsor was like, what? Like my mom came from a long line of socialists, and my dad was the first person in his family to go to college since ever in the South. And like this, they met at MIT, which is fancy, but this was not their, like MIT is not fancy in a preppy way, right?
No.
So they didn't know anything about preppy, like that kind of old fashioned, they knew nothing, but they got inspired by the education piece of it because they were both academic and academic adjacent. And so, I don't know, I think I just grew up around people who were nice. Not all of them were activists or advocates, but who were oriented toward being part of the public discourse because it's what you do.
That's the other thing that I find so interesting, right? Like I'm so used to like going into a bar and you sit at the bar, the actual bar itself. You're waiting for your friends. You talk to the people next to you. It would be so normal in Boston to what sounds like people having a fight, but they're just really having an active discussion about politics. And it's so normal. And then you go other places in the world and you're like, oh no, we don't talk about that. I'm like, isn't this where we're supposed to be talking about this stuff?
I know, where else would you talk about it? I think that does happen in New York also.
Yes.
But I totally know what you mean. Yeah. Yeah. And you just talk to people. Just talk to whoever. Just talk to them. What? Yeah. Yeah. I know, whatever it's about. Yeah, totally.
Well, so coming back to what you're creating for the people and giving them some room to be in the spotlight, you mentioned for the people, you mentioned, that program to like write your pitch and craft your idea.
Yeah, that's one of our premium classes. Yeah.
What else can people expect from Gold Comedy?
Thank you for asking. So one thing that's cool is that the core way we work, there are exceptions, but the core way we work is it's a membership model. So you join for the year rather than you dip in and dip out. I mean, you can still do that, but in that way, we emphasize that what you're joining is a community. And in that community, you take classes and you do other things. But what you're joining is a collaborative community and network that is there for your success. So whether it's small things like two people who didn't know each other now co-host one of our open mics that we have online, or whether it's big things like 3 people who did a class we used to do on comedy and trauma, wound up creating solo shows built out of that class and then touring those shows, doing those shows as sort of a trifecta together, or whether it's one of our web series, but it was created out of one of our classes, and the writer and producer are both members of Gold, and then they had to. It's great. It's called Rat Czar. Everyone should watch it. It's a fictional. It's like the real. There was a person whose job in New York City was Rat Czar, like rodent mitigation, basically. So it's like that, but Parks and Rec-ish. And hilarious. And so they basically staffed the whole production with almost all Goldies. So it was just because it was people ready to there. Like, I know how to do lighting. I know how to do sound. I'll be scripty. Like it came together. So that's like the baseline. And then we have all sorts of classes that are included in your membership. So you can take them. You can take all of them. You can take them more than once. We're always rolling out new ones. They're all included. And so that way you can create your own path, whether it's to jump around or really focus on one thing. We have 2 mics every week. We have a celebrity, and we have a speaker series with comedy celebrities and professionals. We have hundreds of hours of on-demand content. We have members teaching workshops. So if you have a skill that's relevant, or even like one that's not relevant, like I'll teach crochet, whatever it is. We just had someone we have people teach editing all the time, like, because people, like, that's a major skill that you need, and you probably already know how to do it if you've made a TikTok ever. And then, so there's just a community of people doing different things, but it all overlaps. You collaborate and you meet online, and maybe you go do a thing in person. So it's all the skill building and making stuff grounded in a collaborative, supportive, professional community that's there 24/7.
I love this. And the business strategist in me is like, yes, like creating memberships that last a year, 1000%, because we want people to meet us where we are. You're giving them so much stuff, and to have them be like, yes, I'll be friends for a whole year. You're like, great. Now we can do all the fun things together, because we want to minimize the selling side of things. We can focus on all the juicy stuff you just talked about. And it's a smarter model. So
thank you.
Gold star for Gold Comedy.
I mean, we're still figuring out how to not over deliver for what they get, and to really encourage the members. Like, what are all the things that can run themselves, make themselves? What can the members do? Our inside joke that we say on the team, you heard it here, is like, we can't be the giving tree.
Yeah.
Which is my least favorite book ever written. It's disturbing, and it's about an abusive relationship, and I can't stand it. And there you heard it here. Hot take. Sorry if it's your favorite. I'm really sorry. I just hate it. But in any case, jokingly, we always think when we cook up an idea, then me and the team, we go like, whoa, okay, how do we make this build on something we already do? How do we make the members do this? And plus it's more valuable to them if they're making it, as opposed to us just giving new stuff. So that's always the challenge, but that's what makes us be creative. Like, we just realized, wait a minute. And also technology helps. Like, we just realized, wait a minute. We run 2 public open mics a month. Great lead generator, all those things. Super easy. They run themselves. Members host them. We have it automated and templated and all those things. They're very friendly, easy to do. And then we just realized that the technology of our platform, my teammate Maggie just said, well, why don't we just create a space on it? We can create a sort of a non-paid part of our platform where it's only for people who do our mics. And that's it. And it's they have limited functionality, but we get their emails.
Yes.
And
nothing's for free.
Yep. And then they get a little bit more of an enhanced experience, because if they saw someone at a mic and they like them, they can see them on our platform. And it's just like, duh, we can do that and set it and forget it. But it's that's a little bit less about building community and more about lead generation. But like, we're always thinking, like, what can we do that we already do? Because we're a tiny team and mostly part-time, like we're tiny. And so how can we be smart about maximizing and optimizing their experience while minimizing ours?
Wait, everything that we do that I think makes a business feel like it's serving the business actually has an equal service to the people who are the customers and clients of the business. If we are able to actually look at it, like actually guiding people through a journey people have entered your net and then like we have holes that are too big and they're gone. They're like, but I thought you liked me. And they're like offloading and have to like come back in the door again. And like, so I think for memberships, people are underestimating how hard it is to like make it self-moving.
Yeah.
It's really easy. Like, I want to hang out with blah, blah, blah. Cool. You can make the containers super easy, but it's a big thing to manage and maintain. But yeah, it's fun.
Well, one thing that is helpful is I'll shout out the platform that we're on. And there are many, I can't speak to other ones that are like it. I'm sure there are very high quality ones that are like it, but we're on Mighty Networks.
You might be. Yeah.
Yeah. And they exist to solve the problem that I was stuck. I was stuck for years, noodling on this while also like trying to pay rent and earn money, doing other things that I do because I'm not a tech founder. And so I was trying to figure out how do we create this community experience, mostly online, that does all these X, Y, 1, 2, 3 things that I wanted to do without being like, okay, well, this lives on Facebook and this lives on Udemy, or do I raise money? Do I raise $100,000 to build an app that I haven't tested because I can't test the app until I build it? Like, what? And then Mighty Networks was like, oh, do you want to build a community with X, Y, and Z functionality all in one place without having to build an app? And I was like, that is, yes.
Yeah.
So there are other companies like it, and I'm sure they're all great, but that was a great understanding of a problem that needed solving that they solved.
One of the things that we ask everyone who's on the podcast is, what does powerful ladies mean to you? Like, how would you define that? What does it mean to you when you hear it?
I think a lot about this because I think that I'm happy to use the word powerful. The word that I try to avoid is empowered, because I feel that we have all the power already and we don't have to be empowered. Other people need to stop taking away our power or just get out of our way. And so when I think of powerful ladies, I think more of that. In other words, we know that we already have the power. Sometimes people get in the way of it. Sometimes culture gets in the way of it. Sometimes individual dudes like that guy get in the way of it. But we already have the power. It's not about empowering us. It's really just walking into a room and knowing that, for example, if we don't feel as powerful in that room, it's not because we have imposter syndrome or anything like that. It's because the room wasn't built for us. And to do the thing anyway. Yeah. And they'll catch up.
You know, some people have said that they get triggered by the word ladies, and we should call this powerful humans.
Oh,
what do you think?
I don't care about that. I just don't care. I don't care. I mind if someone like addresses a bunch of us as ladies, especially when not everyone identifies that way. Like as in a moment, But like, to me, it sounds kind of ironic that like we know how to behave when we need to, when it serves us. It sounds like we're in on the joke. Like So I don't, to me, it's a good combination.
The origin for me was Missy Elliott when she's like, "Hey, ladies." I was like, yeah, who's the group I'm going to call when we're like, we got to go. We got a problem to solve.
Yep.
Like, this is when I need to send the bat signal out. That's who we're inviting to this podcast.
Right. And it's like, I know when you say it, you're like, it has a whole bunch of meaning, right? Whereas if some random dude is like, "Okay, ladies," I'm like, shut up. So it's all context.
Yeah, and it's the tone of it too, right? Though I do love, I was reading a list of ways that women are like quietly being anti-patriarchal. And this one woman said that when she goes into a room now, she's like, "Okay, ladies, let's begin." Oh, yeah. No matter who's in the room, instead of guys. And
oh my God, that's so good.
It's so good. And
I actually don't mind guys, but that's good. That's really good.
I don't mind guys either. Yeah. And so, but it's so funny, especially when she's the only woman in the room and everyone looks at her like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "We're just normalizing this. Thanks. Bye."
Yep. I love that. I love it so much.
For everybody who wants to work on one of your projects, invite you to something else, go join, be a Goldie. Where can they find, follow, support you, sign up, all the things?
Well, thanks for asking. Easy, goldcomedy.com. Also Instagram, Gold Comedy. And I'll also give you some goodies for the show notes, some links and a discount.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. Last question I'll ask you today is, how can we help you? What do you need? What do you want? What's on your to manifest, your wish list? Big, small, what do you want to ask of me and the community?
Oh, thank you. I would say, and this is a win-win. This is a win-win. Come check us out. Don't count yourself out of comedy. You don't have to give up and join the circus. You don't even have to do stand-up. You don't have to perform even. You could be, we need comedy. We need writers. We need people who do lighting, sound, editing. We need project managers. We need producer, like all those things. And you don't have to like be a certain personality. You don't have to be like loud or quote unquote confident, which I think is a giant red herring. Or you're ready. Like there's no ready. There isn't any ready. Ready is just doing it. There's no ready. There's no not ready. So, and that also helps me because what I need is revenue. I'm always figuring out, of course, new revenue streams, but our bread and butter and the thing that makes us win and the thing that makes us great as something that people want to keep coming back to, which they do, are the people. So come be one of those people.
I love it. Well, this has been such a delight. Thank you for being a yes to me and the Powerful Ladies and sharing your story. I cannot wait to see like who are other future Goldie graduates.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Powerful Ladies podcast. If you enjoyed this conversation, please subscribe, leave us a review, or share it with a friend. Head to thepowerfulladies.com where you can find all the links to connect with today's guest, show notes, discover like episodes, enjoy bonus content, and more. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode and new amazing guest. Make sure you're following us on Instagram or Substack @PowerfulLadies to get the first preview of next week's episode. You can find me and all my socials at karaduffy.com. Until then, I hope you're taking on being powerful in your life. Go be awesome and up to something you love.